Good morning again. If you're just joining us, this is the AM show, and this segment is the news review segment. My guest and I are about to reflect or review the stories making the airwaves. And Dr. Ikuamako is a member of the NPP Communications Directorate, and Remy Edmondson is National Secretary of the PPP, and they join me to review the newspapers in studio. Gentleman and lady, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I know there's so much happening in the country right now. It makes us, those in the media excited because there's so much to talk about. But Remy, I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been?
Doing great.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Let me start with you.
Okay. All right. So I'll just, my opening take is I want to commend the president for scaling down the Independence Day celebrations.
Right.
I mean, that's a right step, and I wish that subsequent presidents will also uphold this. I mean, we always ask, what exactly are we celebrating, especially with all the fanfare and the huge financial expenditure incurred in doing so. I believe it should be a day for reflection, and I don't think as a nation we have gotten to that point where we really have anything worth celebrating. I mean, we are still so much in debt as a country, and so much is going wrong as a nation. So it's a good call, it's a right step to cut down this cost.
Okay.
And then also, lastly, let me just briefly also on the issue of the Council of State elections. That I think looking at what's going on, I personally feel that it's probably about time we really look at the essence of this council, a body that essentially the president is not mandated to take the advice. Every president comes in with his own vision. The constitution mandates him to spell out and then appoint key people into certain positions to help him carry out his vision. So and looking at what is happening, look, the fact that even you're aware it's 2 people per district who should vote.
Yes. No
citizen is consulted in this regard. So on what basis even are they voting for the candidates? And again, we don't really seem to have any real structured criteria as to who qualifies to serve on the Council of State. Okay, so
well, the president appoints some of them. Some members, those who served in previous government roles, and then the 16 representatives from the region, which are supposed to come from the district level, the municipal and district level.
That's correct.
Yeah, so there's a system to it.
I'm talking about the competence.
Right.
Just talking about the competence, yes. So, I mean, these are things that we really need to look at and examine properly if there's really a need to, because in the bits of mind, I'm asking myself, why are all these agitations? I mean, it's becoming just like our regular elections.
Yeah.
Why the agitations and why the violence if I want to come in and serve, as it were, to come and advise the president? What is in there? What are they also getting? What benefits are in there? For which reason? People are agitating so much, and we are seeing so much violence in some of the regions. Yes, so that's one area we need to look at.
Thank you, Remy. Doc? What are you reflecting on this morning?
There's so
much. You look beautiful today.
Thank you.
By the way, I wanted to... No, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. You didn't tell me I'm handsome.
What?
That's discrimination. You didn't tell me I'm handsome.
I'm sorry, I'm biased towards the ladies. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's been a lot happening. As you said, it's a very interesting week. You blink and you miss it. So what I want to discuss this morning is the new Attorney General's press conference yesterday. I was really looking forward to it because I expected to see more cogent reasons for dismissing the charges. The first problem I have with the way we are handling that situation is we are lumping all of the charges together and
the cases
together to dismiss them. But some started as far back as 2017, some started as late as 2020 and after. So if you lump them together and say after 8 years you haven't been able to prosecute them, so let's let them go, it's neither here nor there, and it doesn't inspire confidence in us as citizens, especially considering that the new president entered office on a large ticket of anti-corruption. So it still doesn't look good at all. I know when the charges were dropped, a lot of conversations were had and people were waiting and hoping that the Attorney General will be able to explain it away. But after the press conference, I think there are still more questions than answers as to why these charges have been dropped, especially since the ex-president was labeled a clearing agent. I think the Attorney General even mentioned that he is taking sole responsibility for these decisions he's making. that is understandable, but if you look at the yardstick that the previous government was judged with, especially when it comes to matters of the judiciary, which naturally there's supposed to be separation of powers. You don't expect so much interference. But every time the judiciary made a decision, it was strongly linked to the executive and to the former president. And he was also called a clearing agent, even though he was not the attorney general. So now to come and expect to be treated differently is something that I don't understand. And I think
what is the point of contention? Is it that he didn't give us enough explanation? Because he did say that he had reviewed the cases individually, thoroughly, and in good conscience. He said in good conscience he cannot continue to prosecute these cases. But that notwithstanding, you know, that's not the end of the cases entirely.
Yes.
The nollie prosequi doesn't mean that a case cannot be continued if new evidence comes to light. So I want to understand your point.
Let's sit down and see if these cases are ever going to come back and see the light of day in the next 4 years. Let's just see. I'm not holding my breath. Number one, some of the cases we've had a lot of information on. It's like Sagleme. Again, I keep saying, you know, if you lump them together, then it's easier to just say, oh, you've had so much time, blah, blah, blah. But if you take them singly, when you look at Sagleme, 200 million for 5,000 homes. When you do the math of what we eventually had, 1,000 homes, which were not even completed because the ex-government had to put more money into it, there's about 160 million it's unaccounted for there.
Right.
Don't we want answers to some of these questions? Because you can't go on to start an anti-corruption campaign when you haven't cleaned your own house. It doesn't look good.
You know, some could argue that if you really want detailed explanation, you could just ask, because we have you can just file an RTI request.
Yes,
and ask the Attorney General
I'm sure. I'm sure us in the MPP setting out to be a very cogent opposition will do exactly that. But looking at the facts that we have available, we can't find any logical reason for some of these things.
Right.
We do understand that proving some of these cases can be very difficult. I always say this, like, people think that when you're in government and you steal money, it's as simple as signing a check or something like that. It's way more complicated. You can't do a lot of these things like that. So sometimes proving cases of corruption are tricky.
All right.
But when there's like almost half of the value of the contract is unaccounted for, you know.
Let's see how it unfolds.
Yes, yeah. I agree with you on that.
Let's start with the newspapers. I believe this story is on all the newspapers we have this morning. Former finance minister wanted, and ex-NPA boss, 8 others under investigation, according to Kisia Jabin, Office of the Special Prosecutor. Should we start there, ladies and gentlemen? Remy, what did you make of first the news of the raid? I think it's a lot of things happening all around Ken Ofori-Atta and the others involved. First, we got news of the raid of his house in his absence. Then there was that press conference from Kisia Jabin. And then Parliament weighed in on the conversation, some saying that, you know, political actors should come together and protect themselves from this. And then the majority leader is saying that, well, if you say protect, how do we hold leaders accountable? But what do you make of all of it?
Yes, I will start from the subject of accountability. I definitely will support calls for looking into any established reasons for malfeasance for any public officer. It is quite worrying. I think we've had calls to discuss Parliament in the several times because of what happened during the vetting, appointment committee vetting issues. And so personally, there's been the notion that our MPs or our government officials do not somehow feel accountable to the people. Okay, yes, based on some of their rhetoric and actions. I'm very happy the majority leader, spoke against that notion. We all have been in the country, and we all have had issues with some of the decisions that the former finance minister took with regards to the economy of the country. And so if there's a cause for him to be investigated, for me it's a good call, but we need to follow rule of law.
Okay.
Let me go on to the matter of the raid, since it's connected to the issue.
Which the Kisia Jabin says was staged, by the way.
Yes, and then the pictures also coming out that I've seen, that we've all seen, that have been shared from footage of the video, suggest otherwise. Because we are seeing people in military uniform. I don't know if they are actually from the military, and here we need, since Kisia Jabin is emphatic, he is not responsible for those people, and they were not in police uniform, so we cannot go and ask the IGP. Then we need a military hierarchy to also come out and make a statement. We need to know who sent them. It's not the OSP who is investigating this matter. It's being alleged that one of the people in there is our good friend who just recently was let off, spent so many years in court, Mr. Japwa. So the question is, what is he doing there? And for me, it raises a lot of questions, because what mandates does he have to be part of this team? I don't know.
You did say alleged, so...
Yes, well, and then if so, and then again, they even have any warrant to go and search the premises, because it's worrying. Today, look, I always say that being an opposition party doesn't mean I should just jubilate when things are happening this way. We should always ensure that the right thing is, because today, tomorrow it could be me, it could be doctor, it could be you. Yes, so let's ensure that due process is followed. Okay. Again, if I've seen a letter suggesting that as far back as 31st of January, a letter was written by his lawyers notifying of, he's seeking treatment. So the question is, if the special prosecutor was aware of this letter and duly received this letter, why then would he come out to give out this press conference? If he was aware, then it suggests that maybe he's being pushed to do this. Let's not forget that I always say that the OSP in its current structure is not independent. He still is under the direction of the Attorney General. And the evidence of this is that he had 8 good years, or almost 8 years. No, not 8 years, sorry, but at least he had quite a lot of time, at least 4 years, to have brought up these charges against the former finance minister, because he left office for at least about a year before the ruling MPP government was voted out.
But he was still an official, because he was advisor to the senior advisor on something on the economy.
Yes, but no, he wasn't the finance minister. My point is that if he was truly independent, he should have been able to levy these charges whilst MP was still in government. But for it to happen now, and yes, I don't buy what he was saying, that he said what. It's a matter of luck or so that these charges are coming at this time.
Luckless.
Yes, but that's not the case. So that's one area also that needs to be looked at. And again, let's not, the MPDC, here's my word to the Attorney General. We've seen him, let me commend him also for giving out the press conference to explain his reasons for discontinuing some of the cases. I was one of those who kept, agitating that we need to know, even though some legal experts indicated that there wasn't really the need for that. But I'm very happy he has at least come out to clear there on some of the issues. We will look at that. Okay. But the point is that we don't want...
Remy, you have to take the wind out of your sail.
We don't want another case of political witch hunting.
Right.
Let's ensure that if people are really guilty, let's go through the rule of law, due process, and then uphold governance and justice in discharging some of these cases.
All right. Doc, we now know that, in fact, Ken Ofori-Atta may be undergoing some surgery. Although Kizia Jabin mentioned that the medical records were also fake. What do you make of it?
I don't know how he validates a medical report to be able to tell it's fake. And it's not a medical report from just anywhere. It's from the Mayo Clinic. You can easily reach out to them. I think they are one of the best known medical establishments in the world. So you can just reach out to them.
So are you saying we can't fake medical reports?
You can't fake it.
You can't fake.
But from the Mayo Clinic, wow, I don't agree with that. And the way he's handled this whole thing leaves like a lot to be desired. Firstly, let me just make it clear. See, there's a lot of sentiment regarding the former finance minister, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. And so when discussing these issues, it's quite important to sort of remove him, put any other Ghanaian official there and see if what is happening is right and does it abide by rule of law. See, I don't think if the charges come up and evidence comes up and anybody is found in the past administration to have committed any acts of corruption, these people are not going to be shielded by the New Patriotic Party. We want to be emphatic that there was no grand scheme to loot. We were very committed to bettering the lives of the people of Ghana. We had a vision for progress and development of the country, and that's what we set out to do. But in any case, the president appoints a lot of people, and so from time to time, things happen.
But do you agree that it did happen?
No,
there was some looting.
I haven't seen evidence. That's what I'm saying. Now, that's the beauty sometimes of a change of government, because everything you did will be put under a microscope. So if you did anything wrong, best believe this is the time where it will come out. So as I said here, I don't have, all we've heard are allegations, and we know heading into an election is one of the tactics that our good friends in the NDC like to employ, to call everybody a thief. So I don't pay any mind to that. Now that they have the power and they are going to review a lot of the things that happened, they can bring out the evidence. And if anybody has done wrong, we are not going to shield that person. Okay. Let me put that there. But when you look at the issue of the former finance minister, he had written to the former chief of staff that he was out of the country. When the new chief of staff assumed office, he was also informed that this man was out of the country. Then you invite him for questioning. His lawyers respond to you. Then you come out to make this press conference. I only have a few questions. First, what is he charged with? You haven't charged this man with anything. Basically, you are requesting his presence as a person of interest or a suspect. You now want to question him, essentially, isn't it? So how are you declaring him a fugitive and wanted in front of everybody? The BBC has picked up this news. What it seems like the OSP is setting out to do is to try Ken Ofori-Atta in the media. Because what you've done is to create the impression that, oh, you have a lot on him and he's going down. And you declare him a fugitive. Right. How? Based on which part of our
But he did tell you why. He told you that he believed that the medical records or report was faked. He has no intention of returning to the jurisdiction.
The prosecutor.
He's also said, he said so many things.
How do you know he has,
to him, hold on a second. He has done his own, maybe investigations, reached out to this man who is a person of interest in 7 high-profile cases, right? SML deal, all of that. And then they say, come and help us because we need clarity on everything. And then you say that, well, first of all, you're not in the country. You are not well enough to answer questions and all that. Does that not give the impression that you are avoiding that?
Did you see
I don't want to say interrogation,
the
but
letter
you're avoiding.
We can call it an interrogation because it's a criminal case. Did you see the letter by the lawyers of Ken Ofori-Atta to the OSP? Yes. Where did he say that he was unavailable indefinitely? He said something like in March, I'm trying to find the letter, that he's going to avail himself. And the health status of Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta is not a secret. It's something, you see, you were spreading rumors not too long ago that he's sick and almost people even said he was dying. So now, if he's actually giving you evidence that he's seeking treatment outside the country, how is that difficult to believe? How does that lead you to believe that he's running away indefinitely?
But if you're not in the country, does that prevent you from actually answering questions? As in, are there no other means by which he can provide the information they're looking for without ending it at, I'm not in the country, I'm not available?
That's not what he said. So through his lawyers, he responded by saying that they are ready to furnish the office of the OSP with any information they may require in his absence while he recuperates and gets back. That's what he said. And number 2, to call somebody a fugitive when you haven't charged them with anything is something that we don't expect the OSP, one of the high prosecutors in the country, to be doing, because it is not backed by any law. If you are charged by something, you are supposed to appear. There are actual charges, and you evade that appearance, you are a fugitive. If you are convicted of a crime and you evade your arrest, you are a fugitive. If you were a person of interest invited by a body and you have responded duly to these invitations, that I'm going to come. How are you a fugitive?
So let me hold you on. Let's pause for here, because we have Samuel Apiadaku, and he's the Director of Strategy, Research and Communications Division, and he's following the conversation. Apparently there's some new information or something he wants to bring to our attention. Sir, good morning and thank you for calling in.
Good morning, thank you. It's just a correction.
We can hear you, sir.
You can hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I'm saying that it's because you've made some statements that are inaccurate, that are not true, by you yourself as a host, as well as your panelists. First of all, you said that the OSP or the special prosecutor during the press conference did say that Ken Ofori-Atta submitted a fake medical report. That is not true. It can never be true. The OSP never said that. what the OSP has said is that Mr. Oforiatta, who, by the way, people confuse suspect with a person of interest. Okay. Mr. Oforiatta is not a person of interest. In law and in investigation, a person of interest is somebody who just needed to provide information to assist with the investigation. A suspect is someone who there is sufficient basis to say that he's committed a crime and that he's wanted to be charged as in what we call a charge caution statement and a few other things taken from you. So that should be the first thing. So I notice a lot of people have been using the words interchangeably as a person of interest. No, Mr. Oforiatta is a suspect. A suspect meaning that the OSP has sufficient evidence and it wants to be able to go into taking your statement and charging you with what we call charge caution statement and all that. Also, Mr. Oforiatta...
So are you saying that Kisia Jabin did not say anywhere yesterday that the medical records that, you know, Ken Oforiatta submitted or the excuse that he was not available were not, in fact, factual, that were not fake?
Yes, yes. I'm saying that what you said is inaccurate. It's not factual. It's your own creation or maybe your own understanding of what the SP said. What the SP has said is this, and I will explain it to you. Just a small time. I know that you have people who have to talk. When police invite you, I'm just using you as a test case. Let's say you are accused of stealing, and the police invite you that you are a suspect in an investigation involving theft, and that your presence is required. You are able to give some reasons. For instance, you tell the police that, okay, I'm in my hometown now, I'm not feeling well, I've come to see a herbal doctor, and so I'm not able to immediately come. But my lawyers are in Accra, and so I want my lawyers to come and answer it for you. First of all, in a criminal case, your lawyers have no role to play. The only role they have to play is to protect your rights. So your lawyers cannot answer for a charge of theft at the police station. It's you who have to answer. Then you go on, and then the police also say, okay, you said that you are treating yourself, and when you are done treating yourself in your village, you are going to return. When will you return? Then you say, okay, in my second correspondence to you, I have attached a letter by a doctor who is attending to me. So you have attached a letter. Remember, there's a difference between a medical report and a letter. People also confuse these things. You said that, oh, I have attached a letter from my doctor saying that he's attending to me and that when we are done, we'll come. This is how the situation is. And then OSP tells you, no, you cannot just attach a letter. You are either attaching a letter from a doctor that says that you are so sick that you cannot be moved, you cannot move or sit in a vehicle from your hometown back to Accra, or that the letter is giving you adequate timelines between today and tomorrow. You are going to do that. After tomorrow to here, I will do that. After this to this, I will do that.
Right.
So you are giving them enough basis for them to be able to give you opportunity to return. Or you are either suggesting to them that, okay, I'm so bedridden that I can't, because if you can come to where I am and take my statement or whatever, or I'm okay. Or that if you can do any other means by which I'll get there. So this is the point we are making, that you cannot just give law enforcement any lame excuse and think that because you think that you are treating yourself, the law enforcement people should wait for you. No, it doesn't happen in any jurisdiction.
Mr. Dako, so thank you so much.
Please, I have just one last another one that I need to write is that they have said that, oh, he said he notified the chief of staff, the former and the present. How is notifying the chief of staff any bar against being investigated? That is why some people have said that, oh, the OSP should have stopped him when they knew he was traveling. No, the OSP cannot stop you. You are free to go in and out of the country anytime for any medical treatment. But when law enforcement needs your attendance, then you need to avail yourself. That is the whole idea. So the law enforcement agency cannot say, I've stopped you from going for medical treatment. You can go for medical treatment, but when the law enforcement needs your personal attendance, you need to avail yourself. That's the whole idea. But people are confusing it as if there's something wrong with the law enforcement agency demanding the presence of a suspect to be charged. And then the last one, they said that, why are we declaring when you're a fugitive because you are refusing to avail yourself. And law enforcement agencies will usually go for a warrant for your arrest. When there's a warrant for your arrest, they're going to declare you wanted. It's the same thing as saying that you're a fugitive. Please, let's not try to mystify things and make things as if something untoward is being done. The OSP has absolutely done everything in the legal way. Imagine Mr. Oforiatta had written to us through his lawyer to say, I will be available on April 4th.
All right.
After my processes. Do you think that the OSP will come out and declare you wanted? They won't do that. It's because you fail to communicate exactly when you intend to be in this country, when you intend to avail yourself. And once you intend not to give us a definitive or even a region within which we can accommodate, then we have to take steps to bring you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel Apiadako. That's Director of Strategy, Research and Communication Division of the OSP. And, well, thank him for all that. I do recall, and I'm quoting what, he said on the myjawline.com, the purported medical letter transmitted through his lawyers to the OSP does not establish or demonstrate that he's incapable of returning. The OSP remains unconvinced that the letter constitutes a valid medical report proving that Mr. Oforiatta is so ill or physically incapacitated that returning to Ghana would imperil his life. So that's where I was picking that from. But thank you, sir. Let's continue the conversation.
I wish I could ask him a lot of questions, but the last thing
just make it brief for us so we move on to other stories.
That the OSP is capable of going for a warrant. If that hasn't been done, then exactly, I'm asking you again, what basis are you standing on to declare him a fugitive? Because you haven't sought to arrest him. And I'm reading, let me just end here, the letter from Ken Oforiatta's lawyers. I'm reading the second paragraph. Please find attached here the document indicating that our client is receiving medical attention at Mayo Clinic in the USA, detailing his appointments and timelines suggestive of a post-March date when our client may be able to be in Ghana. So nowhere has he said, I am not coming or I'm not coming indefinitely. What it looks like from all we are hearing, from even what he called in to say, is some bad faith going on. You can easily negotiate with him. I don't think, and again, I'm not seeking to speak for Ken Oforiatta, but I don't see this, the information before us does not demonstrate that he's running away. It seems like you are trying to paint that picture this morning. And so that's where I'll land
there for me. Let me give you a bite at this and then we move on to other stories quickly.
Yes. I think I've said much on this. Okay. Let's
move on.
We want to see, like I said, the key thing is that going forward, the conduct should be in accordance with the rule of law, so that no one will come and say tomorrow that there's a witch hunt. Already that's being put out there because of the way the whole approach has been taken. But so that it doesn't sully the whole investigation, doesn't sully the whole thing, and let's ensure that the investigation goes on properly.
Okay. So President orders probe into NSA ghost name scandal. Remember, December last year, the Media Foundation for West Africa brought that expose. I
saw that.
President John Dramani Mahama has ordered the National Investigations Bureau to conduct immediate investigations into the operations of National Service Authority following the discovery of about 81,885 suspected ghost names on its payroll. Let me add some other stories so that we can do a comprehensive analysis. Report suspected cases of meningitis early to the hospital, the health minister is saying. Change must reflect in approach to work, Dr. Lee to GMA staff. And Ghana remains vulnerable to global shocks, according to the World Bank. The country remains highly vulnerable to global shocks due to the oil-driven economic growth and debt accumulation over the past decade, a new World Bank report on Ghana's public finance review has established. We're not out of the woods yet. That's what I'm gathering from that. But, Doc? Quick reflections on all these, and then we move on to your paper.
Meningitis, it's been going on for a while. It's something that requires some more attention to be able to deal with. I mean, the last time I had to speak on something regarding this, I pointed out that sometimes there are mutations of the bacteria involved, and so it makes it a little difficult. But if the vaccination efforts was something that was widespread and everybody was getting vaccinated, scientifically we can hope that we would have reached herd immunity by now. So I'm hoping that the new Minister of Health takes a critical look at that, because there are solutions to that problem, so we should get that done. The NSS ghost name, something that came up, and well, very interesting. We are all waiting to see what the results of that investigation is. I would not want to jump the gun on that. What other thing did we?
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. All right, and of course we already discussed the AGD banking dropping cases for political reasons, because he says the president is not involved in any way. He has reviewed the cases and he's dropping them. Remy, on meningitis, the NSA scandal,
yeah, I'll take the NSA issue. They are not, the National Service Authority is not the only state entity that has had this kind of scandal in the past. It's been going on even before the Ecuador government. It's a fact that certain individuals are somehow able to take advantage of the systems and benefit from this. Even when the Controller and Accountant General brought in some checks and balances by having some verifications down occasion, yet still, this menace is still taking place.
Yeah.
So my challenge to this government is, yes, it's a good call to order an investigation, but we also want to see a wider implementation going forward to ensure that in 2 years down the line, we'll not be reading the same headlines.
Yeah.
Okay, not just with the National Service Authority, but with all of the government agencies. We are losing so many millions of cedis in this kind of scandal, and it's clear there's quite some syndicate that somehow seems to have some protection to be able to, undertake these activities. It doesn't, you can't do this. it requires some kind of high-level connivance to be able to do this and get away with this for such a period of time.
Right.
So we want to see much more systems and implementations put in place to ensure that we don't read these stories going forward, and then we cut down the wastages and losses. No. And let's see some prosecution for once. You understand? We don't want enough of the talk.
Is it a wonder to you why the OSP hasn't prosecuted even one case since he assumed office? But let's get into your papers now. Doc, let's start with you.
I wish we could have the whole time to actually discuss the OSP, but there are other things.
We have to move on.
Yeah. So this is the Observer.
Overseer,
sorry.
Yeah.
Haruna Idrisu directs inclusion of ethics and patriotism in preschool curriculum. Hollister Gia finally hands over to James Ajeni Mboateng as SICMD. Finance Minister to present 2025 budgets. That's something we are all interested in seeing. The taxes. Mahama orders probe into NSS ghost names. Same thing. Kenufriata declared wanted. It's going to be everywhere today.
That Hollister story was an interesting one. It trended for, I think, 3 days straight, because the lady was refusing to, well, more like she wanted to compensated, and she did get compensation, but she's finally handed over. So
no choice.
So
trouble don't go.
Maybe she is severance she was looking for. I don't know. The person that appointed you has left. So what are you doing there? Anyway, so this one I saw in the middle, and I found how Grand Theft Auto is helping Nigerians survive rampant police abuse. Very interesting.
Grand Theft Auto.
The game.
Is helping Nigerians survive rampant police abuse.
Yeah, I could.
That's interesting. Just maybe a little detail in there we can.
Yeah, so Sadiq Taiwo looks out of his 2-bedroom window in Lagos, watching the children below as they play Mbeka in the background. One of their favorite games is Police and Thief, where heroes chase down supposed criminals, mouthing pew pew as if to shoot down the wrongdoers.
Looks like a long read.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. Let's do the other paper. You have to.
OSP declares again, government cancels independence celebrations to save costs of 50 million cedis. Okay. President on working visit to Germany and Ethiopia. Maintain momentum on fiscal reforms to build resilient economy, World Bank. This is from the Ghanaian Times. ECG gets 9.7 million cedis to undertake projects in Western region.
Gets from where?
The Electricity Company of Ghana has received a budget approval of 9.7 million Ghana cedis to undertake new projects in 11 districts of the Western region. The project hopes to boost operations and ensure the system becomes more robust. So I think it's from their own budgets. Okay. Yeah. So Ghanaian Times is not giving us any other.
The stories are practically the same, huh?
Exactly.
Remy, what about you? What do you have?
Okay, so I have a very sensational run from the New Republic, splashed over their front page.
Yeah.
OSP draws dagger after former finance minister. And then Baumiers Haptel boys pockets 400 million booty. OSP chases MPA chiefs in 1.3 billion cedis scandal. MPA, GRA and 9 OMC cartel hot over marine gas smuggling scandal. Yeah, so in here, in the MENA pages, there's an attack on prominent Rotarians sparks outrage. And I think this is in relation to the someone shouting at Zanetta Rawlings, yes, about me. We know the remark, but again, it's quite interesting. I'm surprised Parliament has not. You see, this is one of the situations where we say they are trying to cover for each other because, I mean,
should they not?
There would be.
Should they not cover for?
Let's say we are in Parliament and I shouted. Okay, we know I'm the one.
Yeah.
You will know I'm the one. You understand? Yeah. Yes, and
so they know who said that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, but maybe if I had said this here, I would have been called tomorrow to face the Privileges Committee. But I think, like I said, I'm happy for Mariam Ayeriga's call that, yes, they need to do a lot more. Stephen Amoah also, I mean, yes, chipped in by saying that their own conduct in the past has given that sort of perception in the eyes of stakeholders and the public. And so I'm very happy. I think this parliament will be very interesting. I'm happy that Ghanaians are now, scrutinizing parliament a lot more. Ghanaians are now taking more focus on what is happening there. And they also need to take up the call to ensure that they put up a very good conduct. I'll take this story. I mean, this has to do with the ECD on the matter of the money.
Yes.
But generally about the audit that was done by Pricewaterhouse and some of the findings that have come up. For me, it's about operating about 99 bank accounts and under declaring about 5.3 billion cedis. It's important that I think ECG needs to be made autonomous. It's clear that a lot of these things are happening because of excessive political interference, and this happenings government after government. I still don't buy into the calls to privatize the sector. I've always maintained that if the private sector can come in and clean up ECG and make profit, which is exactly what will happen, I'm very sure that we have very competent people. It's about the structures around the operations. If it's not the president appointing and if it's not the president appointing politicians to serve on the board, people who sometimes we don't even know about their competence. And it's a fact that people are put on boards ostensibly to sort of go and make money. Board members, their conduct flies against corporate governance practices where they get contract here and they understand. I think these are some of the ills of our public sector, state-owned enterprises. Let's make ECG fully autonomous. Let's put in very competitive, competent board, a competent management team, and let's see if some of these stories will be written off.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we all suffer for it. I mean, it's you and I who pay our bills. So ECG also, in order to generate power for distribute power, also has to find a way of operating. And you and I will bear the brunt of it. We have state enterprises that still owe millions of cedis.
Which is why others, I mean, some schools of thought would say that that's why privatization is important. Because if they are in charge of collecting revenue, you cannot say that, you don't have the money to pay.
Yes,
but because it's a government...
An autonomous entity can also go after them. If they know for a fact that my tenure does not depend on any government, any minister who can fire me at will, I'm sure they also can crack the whip on them. And then use the state agencies if they have to. Because then they are working based on some performance contracts. And so that would be a basis for them to also perform.
Well, we've
Then I
tried it
also
before, but
yeah.
let me take Doc's comment on this, ECG.
So I would always agree with some sort of privatization that maintains the kind of social nature of it, meaning that it's not too much for profit. So there's a bit of a subsidy in there so that we don't end up paying more. But I always believe that when you privatize most government agencies, you see increased levels of efficiency. The easiest way to do that is to go to a really good private hospital and go to a really good government hospital. The difference is clear and wide. And sometimes it's not just about changing the board or changing who appoints who is the CEO. It's the whole culture in the whole organization. People in government seem to believe that, oh, you'll be paid and like the government owes you that responsibility to employ you.
Yeah.
So they don't really put in their best. But when you are working for a private person, there's that diligence and responsibility and discipline. So I think privatizing some aspects of ECG will definitely be the way to go. So then they have their own internal ways of doing things. Now, if you want to make it truly autonomous, still the decision of appointing people will have to fall on someone. So I would still stand for the privatization of at least the collection, because one of the plans of Dr. Bawumia during our campaign for ECG was to make sure that all state institutions are on prepaid meters. So there's no avenue for you to owe ECG. But you can imagine the headache for ECG trying to collect from various MMDAs, even to collect from parliaments. Last year, they tried to shut down the power in parliament, and that was an issue.
It was an interesting one when they were discussing energy and then
exactly. So if it's a private man and exactly we implement those plans where everybody, even parliament, is a prepaid meter. So if you don't buy, you don't have power.
Yeah.
Then we'll begin to see more efficiency.
Okay. Is there a story there? Because I want to bring this to your attention. They've set up an 18-member mining sector review committee. And the government has set up an 18-member committee to review the licensing regime and processes within the country's mining sector and propose strategic approaches to safeguard the environment. And the multi-stakeholder committee is also expected to, quote, review operations of mining in forest reserves, identify best practices of mining operations, and propose approaches to halting mining in rivers. Already, we are seeing some work being done from the EPA, seizing some excavators here and there. And, you know, that statement, directive asking people to stop mining, and even the president directive to, I think, 3 or 4 ministries, Interior, Environment, and then there's, I think, Environment, there's Interior, and then there's Security, I think, to prosecute anyone found culpable mining in these places. But is this, how do you feel about this? A committee to review the mining sector? It's not great?
We're getting tired of the committees.
Exactly.
Oh.
We're getting to everything.
Yes.
Very soon there will be a committee to decide who goes to sit on TV. I mean, come on.
Oh.
So you had 8 years in opposition to be able to come up with cogent solutions. And every day committee.
But what's the work of the committee, Doc?
They have to tell us what's
you know,
why you need an 18-member committee.
This is what I think, right?
On an
you can't
issue
just
that
get
has
up.
been raging. It was one of the pivotal issues during the campaign. You don't have a plan. I mean, it doesn't inspire confidence. Sorry.
So this is what I think. If you go to a new place and you intend to actually change things around, I don't think you just up and do, right? You try to put the best brains together to brainstorm, to find out who has the best ideas before you start implementing. So maybe this government's approach is to put together the best brains in each sector to understand what they really need to do, how they can actually meet Ghanaians at the point of our needs.
It looked like the committees were an act of trying to build consensus.
No, but you know, Galam says it's a very topical issue. It's affecting human life. And so if the president or this government decides that we should review how we mine,
one of the things you mentioned was to review mining in forest reserves. This is the discussion we've already had, and we've put the line under this conversation that we are not doing mining in the forest reserves. The
we haven't yet revoked that LI.
Yes, we haven't revoked joke, but the ex-president ordered a halt on all mining in forest reserves. The issue now that they are refusing to tackle head-on is now there are people that are involved doing this. But there was recently information about one of the NDC MPs, involved in Galamsey. And when his chiefs came up, one of the things that I found very disturbing is that he was accusing the man of mining in the forest reserve. So if you want to do something about it to inspire confidence in us, you go after him first, not set up another 18-member committee to discuss what?
Wow, Remy, you agree?
Sweetie, yes, I've also, one of the first actions I was expecting to see on this matter was steps towards revoking that law, allowing
PLI
in the forest. And again, we know for a fact that we've had Operation Vanguard, we've had so many kinds of operations. There were several operations before that. We've tried the military, we've tried the police, we've tried several task forces involving the district assemblies and what have you, and still they failed to curb the menace of government.
Is that not a reason why you should put together some sort of think tank to understand why we keep failing at this fight?
We know, sweetie, we know why we keep failing. We keep failing because of complicity. There are always higher ups who are very much involved. I mean, yes, sometimes people will not want to speak out the facts openly, but there were talks of some of the security personnel, and that's one being compromised when they go in there. It's the reason sometimes the military high command has to withdraw the people they send in there. We need, a proper holistic action on this. People are mining on river bodies. Our security agencies have failed to act. In the very districts where these are happening, we have the district there are regional coordinating authorities who somehow, for one reason or another, fail to act. The question is why? Okay, did the EPA and then the Minerals Commission that gives out the licenses, for example, they have also come out. I've read some of the statements from them that they don't have the capacity to actually enforce the license. So, for example, if they say go and mine in this area, and there are reports that the people are actually, instead of prospecting, are actually mining, or they've even taken on extra land than they should, they're not able to go out there and actually enforce that, look, we gave you this area, or you're supposed to prospect. And that's the fact. People are mining with prospecting licenses. So the whole regime really needs to be looked at.
I want to come back to the same point. Yes. You said the whole regime needs to be looked at. And if by a composition, the people or the agencies who have representation on this committee, right, they are the exact people that we need.
Yes, that's, you see, I understand my sister, and yes, you see.
Hold on. Let me list the number of people on that committee, right? Not all of them. Some institutions that have representation. So we have the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General. We have the Forestry Commission, the Lands Commission, the Minerals Commission, the Water Resources Commission, the EPA, the Chief of Defense, the Ghana Police, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, and the National House of Chiefs.
Sweetie, these are the
which is important because these are the people who are directly involved. If you have lands, they are the custodians of the lands, right? So again, is this not a way to be sure that for the first time, whatever solution they propose, it actually works? Is that not what a committee would be doing?
Well, we had the Interministerial Mining Committee before during the government of His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, headed by what was his name? Professor Pimpon Boateng, and there was a composition of.
So what does this mean? Do you think that hope is lost?
No, I don't.
I mean, in a quest to actually rid this country of.
Yes, I don't think it's lost. But like I said, we are failing to crack the whip. This country, we specialize in dancing around the issues.
That's true.
Okay, and then using all these we're using committees to just mask the issues. We know who the corporates are. I'm sure if you go to any of the Wase Kropong, any of these, the last time I used that route was somewhere in 2021, and it was just terrible. I've not been there since. But if what I saw 3 years ago, and I know mining has still been going on, I mean, such a very large scale, as far as my eye could see from the road, the main road, there was just deforestation on both sides of the road. If you go to the communities and you ask them who is mining, they will tell you. And you see, we often go and blame the ordinary Ghanaians who are being employed so that they can get some. We need to go after the financiers. remember the Chinese ambassador is on record to have said that no Chinese comes in and knows where the gold is.
Yeah.
It's our very own people who lead them to the place. The chiefs also are key stakeholders. The chiefs also, you can't go and mine a community without the knowledge or the authority of the chief. You understand? Okay. So, well, it's been set up. It looks like this is going to be the route that's going to be used. But for me, like I'm saying, we need to see much more than this. Let's see them cracking their whip. Let's see a proper plan that will be implemented. And
so you're just tired of the committees, huh?
Yeah, because I expected to see some more action by now.
Right. Let's talk about corruption, right? We know that the GII, Ghana Integrity Initiative, released that corruption perception index, and we're not doing well. We moved from 34 to 32. Now, Mariada is saying we should pass the Conduct of Public Officers Bill. That is the COPO bill to fight corruption. The Ghana Integrity Initiative has called on the government to prioritize the passage of the Conduct of Public Officers and Internal Audit Agency Bill. And these bills were crucial in strengthening the legal framework. It goes on and talks about how it can be a way to deal with corruption-related matters on unexplained wealth. In fact, I have a problem with how we declare assets. Our politicians declare assets. So you just list whatever it is, seal it in an envelope, and then put it down until something requires that they open it. In most cases, nobody even actually checks until there's some controversy somewhere. We need to review that because it's just not enough. What if the person just lists something, in fact, not factual, just because you have to list and submit, and so they submit it and then it ends there. But on this topic of corruption and how we are not actually doing well, what is your take on the matter?
So I think the matter of corruption is almost endemic in this country. It's not, people like to look at it like it's only those that are in the government ruling at a particular time that are involved in corruption. It comes all the way down. You go to the hospital, you are meeting corruption. Some banks, you are meeting, like it's endemic. Yeah. So it requires some, like a cultural shift. Ghanaians as a people have to decide that we can do things by the book without, if you are going to get something, you can probably just get it done without having to put some money under the table for the person. That cultural shift needs to happen, or everything else, as we are saying, would just be, as he said, dancing around the topic.
Is it a case of what our leaders are doing that's trickling down to the grassroots level?
I believe it's the opposite. The parliament or our leaders, or it's just a microcosm of the big society. Yeah. So it's like a representation of the big society. So if society at large is largely corrupt, I mean, you can't expect that the people that are put into positions of power are not part of society.
Chicken and egg situation.
Yeah. So it's the culture. We all have to decide that, we are going to do things differently. I'm hoping as young people, we make that bold move to do things differently and just do the right thing. I'm hoping that we lead that charge for that.
Okay. Remy?
Yes, I think the call should start from our leadership. People are watching. I always say this. People are always watching. And if I can get into office and people see that someone is elected into office, someone we're all living with, gets a ministerial appointment, gets some state engineer appointment, and in a matter of months, under a year, the person all of a sudden owns so much property. Government needs to walk the talk. We need to, for all these appointees, we don't even know how many of them have actually fulfilled the requirements to declare their assets.
They were given some timeline.
Yes, but I mean, some of these things should be public. I was reading yesterday about the president of Liberia suspending salaries of some ministers who have not yet declared. That's some action. But again, like you opened up and started earlier, that we need to actually make this properly, very transparent. Public service is voluntary. Here, we are made to feel that they are doing us a favor, unlike the other way around. So if you want to serve, nobody is forcing you. Nobody holds a gun to your head that come and become a minister or be an MP. But we need to uphold the laws, declare assets voluntarily. Since they will not even do voluntarily, it should be compulsory. And it should be open. We all need to know that, okay, when Sweetie was coming in as a Minister for Women and Children Affairs, she had this, she had that, she had that. When she was leaving, maybe she had doubled her property. And then she should be able to explain to us how come. Maybe she has some private business on the side. She's doing that. ensure that. And then it's all transparent and we understand. That then will inspire confidence in the people we are leading, so that when they also get into some lower position, they also will not be thinking that, okay, this man got in there, got so much money. Because this is what is actually happening. Okay. Okay.
All right. I think that's about it. Gender politics, society in Ghana. This is an editorial. Pick one for yourself. CPP LPG condemned disturbances at Council of State election. And Defense Minister pledges to tackle accommodation for military. Engineers on water crisis, engineers tasked to innovate for solutions. A professor of environmental science at the University of Cape Coast, Professor David Kofi Esuman, has tasked engineers to develop innovative solutions for water treatment to address Ghana's escalating water crisis. And initiatives to attract commercial agriculture in Ofing for Ahafu farmers. And that will be it for the Daily Graphic. Any other stories? Otherwise, I'll get your final thoughts for us and we will pop off. Doc, do you have any other interesting story there? I see some waste management, the page before that. What is it? Yeah.
Government to demonopolize sector for efficiency.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Government on Monday gave a hint of plans to demonopolize the waste management sector to improve collection and recycling. Ibrahim Matala Mohammed, Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, who gave the hint, said, I have stated that we need to demonopolize if we like waste management in this country. That is not to target other existing waste management companies.
Right.
We need to demonopolize the sector to the extent that we will engage local authorities at the local governance level.
In fact, we had him here on Monday, was it Monday or Tuesday, and he said the same thing, that first he's going to conduct an audit and then he's going to try and monopolize, because looks like we've trusted one person to handle the waste situation in the country, and it's not going anywhere. Yeah, there's filth everywhere.
Competition is always good.
Anyway, final comments, please. We have to go. Yes. Remy, let me start with you.
Okay, so maybe I'll just it will be on the waste issue. That's yes. I agree with this call that the job should be given to the municipal assemblies. They are on the ground. They have a very powerful and efficient structure. The filth we are seeing is because there's not much efficiency in the process. We saw another contract that appears the company, one key company is supposed to even pre-finance, but there was a time last year where it emerged that there was arrears, was up to about 9 months or so. The workers hadn't been paid. This, of course, will affect their motivation. Some are going to drop out. They may not even work as much as they should. And the more worrying aspect is the fact that the ministry, the government doesn't appear to even know exactly how many people they are paying for. Okay, so it's a good call. Let's give this job back to the assembly so that at least we can create jobs within the municipalities, and then they can properly supervise the work.
You know what I find interesting? It's not a policy or any law that we should just give one man the contract to deal with our waste or to take care of waste management in the country. And we've had this problem persistently for years. Why do we still keep renewing, or what is it that we cannot take this away from Zoom Lion and say, let's try and give another person the opportunity to... Yeah, because every time we talk about filth or waste management, you hear Zoom Lion, but the work is not getting done. So why do we keep doing it? Doc, your take on this matter. Your government kept this man, kept the contract to this man for years. You know,
he has worked with the previous NDC government. He has worked with everybody. I mean, it's possible that when he came up, he was the only one with the capacity to do it. But obviously now that's...
The work is not getting done.
That is not true anymore. So I do agree with his take that we should decentralize it. Let the assemblies take care of it. Let the MMDCs handle it locally so that it can be more efficient.
Well, I just hope that we're able to actually do this, because I remember the former president saying by the end of his tenure, Accra will be the cleanest city. And here we are. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us. Okay, let's do some quick headlines before we go. Former Bangladesh governments behind possible crimes against humanity. And President Jubilee House to host 68th Independence Anniversary. Former Minister of Finance wanted. These are just some headlines. Buying time because we have a surprise for you. 15,752 people graduate from University of Ghana. And it's a good time to announce to you that we have a third guest joining us. The newly appointed CEO of Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications joins us in studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you feeling this morning?
I'm terrific.
Anyway, this is all for you. So I want to put 3 issues to you for your quick reflections, and then we pop off. First, the issue about the former finance minister being declared wanted, a fugitive of justice. I know parliamentarians had a go at it yesterday because some are of the school of thought that we shouldn't be displaying such, attitude towards former office holders or government officials. But Majority Leader was also saying that if we do that, how do we hold leaders accountable? And then, of course, let's start from there. What did you make of that issue?
Very well. Let me apologize for the late coming because of some emergencies I had to attend to. And then say good morning to your cherished viewers and the good people of Bimbila constituency. They are my people from northern region. You see, this man should have been arrested long since. You see, he should have been arrested long since. You see, Ghana...
For what, Doc?
Look, the ills this man perpetrated on the good people. Do you know the number of people who died because of his actions and inactions? Look at how he punished our old men and old ladies. For the first time, have you ever seen our grannies demonstrating in Ghana? Have you ever seen that? But we had the benefit of seeing the 70s and 80s. We've never seen this kind of attitude. Grannies who have worked tirelessly for the country, built the country, this man has forced them to go on demonstration, to go and perch at the finance ministry, just because he has removed their head to the extent that even the Sakura cry, he was even trying to remove the skin.
You know, they haven't actually charged him with anything. He's just a person of interest.
But he's a fugitive.
He says suspect, OSP.
The man is a fugitive. His own party people. You remember in Parliament, the last Parliament, the 8th Parliament, a good number of them, MPP parliamentarians, signed that they should remove him. It wasn't NDC who was even put, it was their own party people. They knew of the damage he was causing to the good people of this country. I am saying that the man should have been arrested long since. Well, it's better late than never. Now he's being chased all over the place. Even if he's on his sick bed, they should bring him. They had a tendency of bringing people in ambulance to come and vote for them in Parliament. These people. So why can't you bring somebody on ambulance to come and face justice? So nobody should come and be speaking holier than thou. This is not the time. This is the time to reset the country. He must be brought into the country. So they should extend it to Interpol to look for him.
Doc, is this only happening because there's a new administration and you're resetting the country? Because the OSP could have, declared him a fugitive of justice, a suspect in all these 7 cases long ago. Why is it only coming up now?
You remember what the OSP told Ghanaians in his last press conference? These people were not interested in fighting corruption. They were interested in fighting propaganda. They will come out and make noise about things that they were going to do. Meanwhile, they were not interested in it. You have just seen what they have packed Ghana cities in some 12 containers all over this country. This group. I know these people. I know their behavior. You see, you know how they were.
When you say these people, you're referring to the
NPP. We don't agree. If you don't have evidence that the money was put there by the NPP,
we are saying that
stay away
this
from that
is an administration which has a penchant of doing propaganda. MPP.
Says you?
MPP. That's why Ghanaians voted against you. You saw how you have terribly lost. And I'm saying that what we are doing as of now, wherever the man is, whether in ambulance, sick bed, they should bring him.
Well, we know that he may be undergoing surgery, so maybe it will take some time.
They can't. We have hospitals. Look, whether or not people saying they are building Agenda 111, why should we run away from the country to go for it? How many hospitals did they build? They were drinking propaganda every day.
47.
That's what they are doing. They say 40 what?
47.
So you did 47.
In
this country, I'm not surprised you got 38.
We will talk about
it.
They are saying they said 40 what? This lady, are you coming from Jupiter or F? You know we are in Ghana.
Okay,
it's on F. And you are talking of 40 what? I'm not surprised you got 38.2.
The gazetted results.
What 38.2?
Dr. Computer, hold on a second.
Yes.
Are you saying there are 40, what?
47 hospitals.
47
For the first time, they have
Agenda
started
111
building
What's
hospitals.
Agenda 111?
What?
Non-Agenda 111 hospitals, 30 district hospitals, 17 polyclinics.
Okay.
But they like to sing the song, you've not built any... Like,
You are
how?
saying
How
that.
do you think you can
You are just doing
exist
it now.
for 8 years? Then
So-
another propaganda, 38%.
yeah.
We all know it's not true.
Dear, I'm telling you that the truth of the matter is that you people, if you had built 47 hospitals, you are talking. Ghanaians, look, the propaganda and the news, I'm sure you would have got Joy New Prime.
The pictures are there. I will show you.
Okay, Dr. Computer, we do have to go, but let me put this issue to you for your reflection. So the AG has debunked dropping the cases for political reasons. You know, he cleared 7 people who had ongoing cases, and he filed a nolle prosequi saying that yesterday he held a press conference and he says it wasn't the president directive. He had actually thoroughly reviewed all these cases, and in good conscience he cannot continue to try these cases. But it appears the explanation he gave was just not enough for some people. How do you reflect on this?
Nolle prosequi is legal. It's embedded in our statutes. That's one thing we must understand. This is not the first time Attorney General is filing nolle prosequi on cases of matters of this. Look, these were just political, concocted, carved issues just to cow those people and just to make political capital out of it. What was the issues? Completely non-existent. If you have cases, 8 years, you are running for some people. 8 years, you couldn't even prosecute one of the cases.
Not all of them are 8.
8 damn good years. Now, this group of people, MPP, knowing who they were when they were in power and knowing what they were doing at the court, you know, they had this, how do they call them? The 9 players who were always scoring goals for them. Because they themselves, they had their conscience to protect.
How do you reconcile, say, how do you in one breath say that the Attorney General can do what he did, it's not a crime? We have oral and all those cases that, suspected cases that will have to be tried. And then you say that the former Minister of Justice should have been arrested long ago. And wherever he is, whether he's in an ambulance, he should be brought to face justice. And then Ghanaians are saying, but you have the same thing happening, just that you have a different narrative to it. You are clearing these people because you say in good conscience you don't have evidence or you don't have anything really to stick. And then you are saying that you haven't, don't forget that he hasn't been charged. Kenneth Oriata has not been charged. He's just a suspect in all these 7 cases. How do you reconcile that? In one breath, you're fighting corruption, you are prosecuting those, you are trying to arrest those who you think are culpable. In another breath, you're clearing some other people. How do you reconcile? Let him answer that and I'll come to you. How do you reconcile that?
You see, you cannot compare oranges with apples. You can't say they are the same. They are never the same.
Are they not cases of national interest that involve money?
Look, these are issues. Look, the learned Attorney General, he heard him what he said yesterday. He will send a matter to court for prosecution before he now go and be looking for evidence. This was what Dami was doing. Dami will quickly bundle you into court and now start looking for evidence to come and prosecute you. Is that how you do? Even the lower primary school, me, I'm a LLB student. We don't do this. These are the things they teach. You don't go to court when you don't have evidence. Then this man will sit down there, the whole Attorney General will bundle somebody before the judges and now say, I want to go and look for evidence and come. And question people to come and speak against people who have been prosecuted.
Well,
these are the issues we are talking about. And he said it. This man is a legal luminary. He knows what he's talking about. And he said it. I will not send somebody to court without evidence. I will make sure that before I'm sending you to court, I have prepared enough docket. I have enough evidence to prosecute you. So that I'll make sure that I'll get prosecution. But this man, why they couldn't get prosecution is that for 8 years, they didn't have evidence whatever they were doing. They were just trying to cow them to submit to their whims and caprice.
Dr. Tanko, I've just been told that the extended news review has to end now. So thank you so much for coming, but we have to go.
We are coming after them one after the other. Look, this is the beginning.
You realize there's no military takeover.
Those who joined the conversation this morning, Dr. Ekia Amwako, a member of the Communications Directorate. We also had Remy Edmondson, National Secretary of the PPP, and who just joined us, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, CEO, Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications. Doc, congratulations. So the politics is not over, right?
Well, governance has started. I mean, we want to make sure that Ghanaians benefit from their labor. Every Briton has his due.
Right.
With what we did. I mean, they did a yeoman's job by giving us 57 point something. I mean, we are grateful that they've consigned these people to 38%. Let them be there. I mean, we want peace of mind. That's why they've.
All right, thank you. So, please stay. Sports comes up next.